The NFL's back, and there's no better way to stay up to date on the latest from around the league than listening to the Around the NFL podcast. Join me, Dan Hanzus, and my buds, Mark Sessler and Greg Rosenthal, for the latest football news with a dash of mirth.
We are three guys embarking on our 11th season together. 11 seasons, can't be wrong. Come along for the ride.
Fresh content almost every day, all season long.
Listen to Around the NFL on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Brought to you by the first ever Toyota Grand Highlander.
Hi, it's Gabby Reese, and this podcast is powered by Laird Superfood. It was created in our kitchen by my husband, big wave surfer Laird Hamilton, and it all started with a simple idea. What began as Laird's secret for long-lasting energy on the waves is now Laird Superfood, offering a full range of delicious plant-based creamers, coffee, greens, and more. Visit lairdsuperfood.com and use the code GABBY2024 and save 20% on your first order.
It's time to get inside the Giants Huddle.
Let's go, let's go, let's go.
On Giants.com.
I like it, I like it.
And the Giants mobile app.
Boom, give me some juice.
Part of the Giants Podcast Network.
Let's roll.
All right, we're here for another episode of the Giants Huddle Podcast, brought to you by Citizens, the official bank of the Giants. John Schmelk, Paul Dottino at the Combine in Indianapolis with, from NFL.com, NFL Network, the one and only Lance Zierlein. Lance, it's good to do this in person.
It's good to be here. Good to be here. Fun to talk football with you guys.
Absolutely. And, Lance, let's get into it here. This top of the draft, to me, is one of the best tops of the drafts I've seen, just from a quality of the player perspective, but the premium position perspective. I mean, quarterback, offensive tackle, wide receiver. These are $30 million a year positions at the top of the class.
You guys need all those.
Tackles. It helps. It's not bad, right?
Right. You guys could use all of them. No, it is. It is. And it's a fun draft, and it's a unique draft in that you're going to have 5 quarterbacks possibly in the first round. You're going to have 5 or 6 tackles possibly in the first round. You've got 5 or 6 wide receivers in the first round. You've got about 4 cornerbacks, maybe 5 in the first round. Then you throw in 1 defensive, maybe 2 defensive tackles, and a Brock Bowers.
and that's what
it looks like. It's going to flow. Oh, and I shouldn't say, and about 5 pass rushers. So that's it. I mean, that's what it's going to look like. It's mostly going to be cornerbacks, pass rushers, wide receivers, tackles, and quarterbacks. And those are the premium. Like, if you look at it, the positions of the greatest importance in the NFL, it goes like this. It goes quarterback 1, pass rusher 2. It goes, in my opinion, it goes offensive tackle 3, cornerback 4, wide receiver 5. Any amalgamation of that is what it is, and that's what this whole draft is. The whole first round has gone to, hey, the most important positions happen to be the strongest positions.
Not one running back, not one safety, and not one linebacker.
No.
And that's how the pay scale is going too, right?
100%.
I mean, that's how the game is going. Is I think the first running back goes in the second round potentially, and either Jalen Wright from Tennessee or Jonathan Brooks from Texas, possibly Trey Benson from Florida State, but. That's the sport now. That's the game now.
And it might not be till the third round for all we know.
No,
Who knows?
it could slide that far. And man, the baby blues on this guy. I can't even do this thing with these blue eyes. Unbelievable.
Okay.
No, I mean, unbelievable. This guy. This is football right here. You get a guy. I'm talking football, and this guy's. You got John here telling me about all these positions, and I'm like, man.
Sean O'Hara and I actually have blue eye competitions back at the Giants
Sean
facility.
O'Hara's great.
I usually win.
My dad coached Sean O'Hara.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah, he had him at Cleveland. My dad was a bit grumpy at that point. He really chilled. I told Sean, I said, trust me, Sean. He really chilled out after that.
He was a guard then, though, I believe.
Sean was a guard, and now he's now he's like a wide receiver.
He looks like
an F tight end. Yeah.
Amazing.
Man, it's a transfer. I'm going the other way. He's losing weight, and these offensive linemen are slimming down, but he doesn't sit in a chair and write 500 scouting reports in a dark office just eating bad food and streaming shows in between your brain breaks. But
speaking of which, you can find all Lance's scouting reports at NFL.com. Just search for Combine Tracker and, of course, the coverage on NFL Network all week long.
It's funny, just to follow up on the running back stuff, because Saquon Barkley's a big talk with Texans fans. Everyone wants Saquon Barkley. Well, here's the thing, though. I don't know that Saquon Barkley's a great fit. I go a little deeper. So I don't know if he's a great fit in that one-cut Bobby Slowick outside zone scheme. He does a little dancing. I watched him. I watched him play at Penn State. I wrote him up. I had a huge grade on him. Obviously had the high ankle stuff and had the ankle injuries and knee injury, and then you have, offensive line stuff wasn't great. Year before last, it was good. The offensive line was much better last year, not as good. But Saquon's incredibly talented, can play, run or pass, and yet I think there's a lot of teams who are going to have apprehension about adding running backs. And so the way the game that we all came up watching has changed, man. It's very difficult for me from a projection standpoint, because when do you pull the trigger on a running back that's really, really talented? There's no first-rounders this year.
Right.
But how do you handle the running back position? How do you handle the wide receiver position? Everyone's paying the top wide receivers $20 million plus now. And you have a lot of teams who are trading those players. Like, these are the best wide receivers. A.J. Brown, Tyreek Hill, they're getting Devontae Adams. They're getting traded.
Mm-hmm.
They're getting traded. So I think the way you build teams is in flux right now. And the Giants specifically are really interesting because you got to look at quarterback. You got to look at wide receiver. But how do you value those positions, and where are you going to allocate your money? And I think that's why it makes it tough for Saquon and the Giants is I just think some tough decisions had to be made on a good football player, and we'll see if he comes back. But teams aren't just going to give away. They lose to every other position. I'm sorry they have the leverage on running backs, but that's the way it is. And no one is going to overpay a running back when they know that they get value from lesser drafted players. That's just the way it works.
You're ready for a change. Payday comes early with Citizens, so go to that retreat. New you moves to the country. Now you're raising goats and launching a lifestyle brand. Are you ready for all that life brings?
Speaking of the Giants, I'd like to go to your last mock draft. I know you have a new one coming up.
Yep.
But your last mock draft, you've got Fuanga, the offensive lineman, going to the Giants at 6, passing on guys such as Alt and Neighbors, for example, who many people have already pegged for the Giants.
I won't have Fuanga there.
Okay.
Now, that was coming off the Senior Bowl high.
Okay.
Fuanga. He was
this
really,
is
really
why
good.
we ask
was
these
really
things.
good there.
Yeah. No, but, I do have Malik Neighbors as the top player in the draft for me. Then it comes Marvin Harrison Jr., and then it goes Caleb Williams and Brock Bowers. Then I think it's Jaden Daniels after that, and then Jared Verse, I believe. I don't have a tackle inside the top 6. For me, Joe Alt is rock solid, looks like a Giant. It reminds me of Nate Solder in some ways. I could see him as a Giant for sure. That would be maybe a little early for me from a grade standpoint, but also I think he's very safe. I think he's a very safe prospect, which I like.
You would feel okay moving him to the right side if you had to?
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that.
Got it.
Fuaga is a right tackle, which is one of the reasons I put him there, and I think he's one of the preeminent pass protectors in this draft. But I think you do have to check that. My dad was an NFL line coach, and it's funny because I see Max Starks over there with the Pittsburgh broadcast, and Max Starks was the left tackle for my dad, and he's big and a little slow of foot, so everyone thought he's a right tackle, not a left tackle. He didn't. He got guys blocked on the left side, and he had struggles on the right side, and some guys just don't move the same way.
That's
right?
why I asked the
it's
question,
not an
right.
automatic flip. You basically need to see if they have reps over on the right side, and then you got to get them in a workout and see how they move on the right side. And some of the stuff will happen here at the Combine when you take a look at Joel. But there's a lot of tackles to choose from if the Giants wanted to trade back, but I don't think they will. To me, it's going to be a fight between quarterback, tackle, and obviously wide receiver.
Yeah.
Hey, Giant fans, score a taste touchdown with Hellman's, the official mayonnaise of the New York Giants.
You love turf. You're good at it. So you start a turf biz. Business grows, your savings grow. Become the most celebrated name in turf. Are you ready for all that life brings?
Yeah, I want to retrace just a bit because of your expertise involving offensive linemen. I don't recall how you graded Evan Neal. And we know that he had to flip sides. And with the Giants, he's had a lot of injuries and hasn't lived up to the billing up to this point. How would you feel about him moving forward? Joe Shane has said we still think he's our starting right tackle. Your response to that?
Well, Evan Neal is a guy who, to me, had some guard potential too. I don't give up on Evan Neal. If I need to move him to guard, I move him to guard. He has some weight fluctuations in college. I'm trying to pull up his scouting report to give you. I liked him. Gave him a 67 grade. I thought Evan Neal was the top tackle in that draft.
So did I.
And I think he was. And what I said was, Here's what I had an executive on an NFC team. I know who this is. He said he'll be a good pro, but I don't see him as being the best tackle to come out of the class. He's getting an Alabama push from media types, in my opinion. That was what he said. But I just
Howard
said
Cross would have been one of those.
Yeah, I just said, rare combination of measurables, talent, and pedigree. I talked about his experience at both left and right tackle. Should project on the left side if he can continue to manage his weight. I did said Neal will come into the league as a good NFL starter on either side of the line, but greatness will require additional attitude and action. And my thing was he took some snaps off, and there were times he didn't finish blocks, and he didn't play with the same Andrew Thomas level of grit. He's more talented than Andrew Thomas. He's got better measurables, but Thomas was a more gritty player, and that's, part of half the battle is grit and toughness, especially in that division, especially in that city, especially with this, with the history of the Giants. And he hasn't done that yet, but I don't give up on him. He's got talent. I bump him to guard if I need to. And if he doesn't get it done there, you're on to the next one. But it wouldn't preclude me from drafting a tackle this year, I'll tell you that much.
Lance, awesome stuff, my man.
Thank
Great
you, guys.
stuff, Lance. Enjoy the Combine, Indy. You can
Thanks,
find
guys.
them on NFL Network. Drills begin on Thursday at 3, and, of course, they have coverage throughout the week on the NFL Network. Make sure you check it out. For Lance and Paul, I'm John. We'll see you next time on the Giants Huddle Podcast, brought to you by Citizens, the official bank of the Giants.
You deserve to treat yourself, so turn your tax refund into a U fund and give yourself a Straight Talk Wireless Extended Silver Unlimited plan and get a new Samsung Galaxy A14 on them. You can get a great everyday value on wireless with Straight Talk's Unlimited plan starting at $25 a line per month for 4 lines. You'll save so much you'll be enjoying that refund all year long. It's the refund that keeps on refunding. Find Straight Talk at straighttalk.com or at your local Walmart store.
Taxes and fees not included. Offer valid through 4/14/24 while supplies last. Online only. Must purchase a Straight Talk Extended Silver Unlimited plan to qualify. Limit of 5 phones per customer. Family plan discount with 4 lines, all on the Silver Unlimited plan. Not combinable with auto pay discount.
This is where projects come to life. Our showrooms are designed to inspire with the latest products from top brands, curated in an inviting, hands-on environment, and a team of industry experts to support your project. We'll be there to make sure everything goes as planned, from product selection to delivery coordination. At Ferguson Bath, Kitchen, and Lighting Gallery, your project is our priority.
Find great brands like Thermador at your local showroom or visit us online at ferguson.com/build.